Hey everybody, in this video, it's time to take an updated look at the 2023 governor's elections. We're still a couple of months away from the election, so not much has changed since the last time I took a look at this about 4 months ago. But maybe you don't follow politics, and you're not really sure what's happening in these races, so we're going to take a stroll through all three of them. We've got Louisiana, Mississippi, and Kentucky. All three of those solid red states on the surface. Two of them have Democratic governors, and the last does have a small chance to become competitive. So first, let's start in Louisiana. Here we've got an open seat. Incumbent Democrat John Bel Edwards, he's term limited. And given it is such a red state nationally, Republicans have a great opportunity to flip this seat. So John Bel Edwards was in there for 2 terms. Last time he won narrowly, only by a few points. So which Democrats are lining up to take his place? Well, it looks like they've kind of coalesced around one main candidate. That is Shawn Wilson. He did serve as the Secretary of the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development under Governor John Bel Edwards. And given the state is pretty red, it doesn't look like there's going to be much competition. Wilson looks like he has enough support to be the clear frontrunner for the Democrats. Now, if we go down to the Republicans, there are a lot of candidates running, but there also is one frontrunner as of right now. That is Attorney General Jeff Landry. Landry also served in the U.S. House prior to that, and it looks like it's going to be him and Shawn Wilson as the top 2 vote getters. Now, one thing to keep in mind in Louisiana, they use the jungle primary system, so all the candidates are going to be on one primary ballot. That will be on October 14th. If no one gets 50% plus 1, then there's going to be a later runoff, and that's going to be after the general election. That's in mid-November. Now we've got some endorsements here. The notables here are Donald Trump. He's endorsed Jeff Landry. Bill Cassidy, he voted to impeach Donald Trump the second time. He's also endorsed Landry. Shawn Wilson has some support here from some Louisiana politicians. And then that takes us down to the polling. So it is Landry and Wilson as the 2 clear top vote getters. Nobody's hitting 50%. Wilson is the only Democrat on this table, so he's going to get the bulk of the blue vote. As for Landry, he's got to contend with all these other Republicans as well as some independents, but none of these other candidates are even in double digits. So right now, it looks like it's going to be Landry and Wilson heading to a runoff, and then at that point, we've got some head-to-head polling. Jeff Landry does have a clear advantage. So having said all that, if we go back to the map, sometimes in deep red or deep blue states, when it comes to the governor, voters are willing to defy the partisan lean of the state and elect a member of the opposite party for governor. They already did it in Louisiana with John Bel Edwards. So could they do it again? It's possible, but I think it's unlikely. Usually these states revert back to their traditional partisan lean. This case, it would be back toward the Republicans. Shawn Wilson, he's going to have to make no mistakes and get a lot of crossover support. That's probably going to be a tough ask. I think there's going to be plenty of red meat for Jeff Landry to throw to the base, and I think enough independent voters are going to support him. He doesn't really need any crossover support. That should be enough to put him over the top. So maybe he does end up winning this by double digits. But for right now, until we get closer to the election, I'm going to flip this and give this to the Republicans. I'm going to put it at a lean margin. It's definitely closer to going up to likely than it would be to a toss-up. The next state, Mississippi. We've got incumbent Republican Tate Reeves. He's running for re-election to a 2nd term. He has not been that popular, but he coasted to the nomination. He's going up against Brandon Presley, Public Service Commissioner and distant relative of Elvis. He's considered to be a conservative or moderate Democrat, and just like with Louisiana, he's going to have to run that type of campaign if he wants to make it competitive. And right now, it looks like Brandon Presley is going after Tate Reeves. He's trying to hit him with some scandals. I'm not sure how fair the criticisms are, but he's going to have to take some risks if he wants to have a chance at knocking off the incumbent. Just like in Louisiana with Shawn Wilson, Presley cannot run like he's in a deep blue district. He's going to have to distance himself from national Democrats, talk about local issues, even sometimes sound like a Republican, and hope he could peel off a decent chunk of those GOP voters, as well as Republican-leaning independents. So I'll probably look more in-depth on these races in the future, but we can go down here past the endorsements. Presley pretty much had no competition. That's the best bet for a Democrat in a red state. Clear the field, appear united, and hope for everything to land your way to be able to be competitive in the general election. So there's not really any new polls here on Wikipedia. So if we go back to the map, I'm going to keep the same rating I've already had, and that is going to be likely Republican. It appears Tate Reeves, even though he's unpopular, he is an incumbent in a deep red state. I think he's likely to hold on, but it's not a guarantee. A lot of voters haven't even started paying attention to this race yet. That'll happen probably in the last month. So there's an outside chance for an upset, but as of right now, I'd be hard-pressed to bet against Reeves. Last state, that's Kentucky. That has incumbent Democrat Andy Beshear running for a 2nd term. If you've seen any of my videos or follow politics, you'll know Beshear has been very popular. He's the son of a former governor. For any other office, I don't think he would have much of a chance, but he's going up against the Attorney General of Kentucky. That's Daniel Cameron. Cameron had to win a contested primary. Now he's focusing on going after Beshear, and he's banking on the partisan lean of the state to bail him out. And it might work, but Bashir starts out as the favorite. So you can scroll down here if you want to take a look at the primaries or review the endorsements. Of course, all these links will be down below in the description. We've got general election polling, and we've got one from August. This was sponsored by Bashir's campaign from PPP. Bashir leading 49 to 41, 10% undecided. That's an 8-point lead. And in the older polls, Bashir also leading. One of them he's tied. So this is an interesting race, similar to the other two states. But this time Bashir is the incumbent. He narrowly won in 2019. He knocked off an incumbent himself. So it is possible this deep red state could get behind Daniel Cameron, and Bashir could end up losing. But I think this is kind of the opposite of the other two states. Everything would have to go right for Cameron. Solid national environment. Bashir probably would have to make a couple of missteps. And Cameron is not really looking for crossover votes. That's going to be Bashir doing that. So if Cameron can just turn out his base, that should be enough to get him the win. Bashir looking to get a little bit of crossover support. Even though his approval rating has been around 60%, there's no way he's going to get 60% in the general election. I think a great night for him would be hitting 10 points. But right now I think it's going to be less than that. So let's go back to the map. And I'm going to put this race as leans Democrat. Whatever Bashir's doing, it seems to be working. He's got a supermajority in the legislature to contend with. He's issued a lot of vetoes. Sometimes voters don't like that. They're tired of seeing the vetoes and the overrides. They'd rather just have somebody in there at the top that's going to go along with the agenda. Other times they like that balance and view it as a check on the legislator. Can Daniel Cameron win this? Yeah, he can. Is it likely? No, I don't think it's likely. I think it's unlikely he wins, but sometimes there's late breakers. Sometimes things develop close to the election. So this is going to go as leans Democrat right now. It could even go up to likely Democrat as we get closer. We'll see what happens. But right now we've got Republicans picking up one seat. That is in Louisiana. That's not even a guarantee, but that does seem like the most likely outcome. Then we've got Reeves and Bashir, both in kind of a similar situation and both likely to hold on. So we'll see what happens. That's an overview and my prediction of what's going to happen in the 2023 governor's elections. Maybe you have a different take on it. Maybe I got it all wrong. So let me know in the comments. What do you think is going to happen in these elections? Maybe you think Jeff Landry is going to win by 15 points. Maybe you think Brandon Presley is going to knock off Tate Reeves. Or maybe you think Daniel Cameron is going to end up winning in Kentucky. Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video.